Hello and welcome to Yin Yoga that is targeting our bladder meridian, and this video goes great with the kidney meridian Yin Yoga. They run as a pair together and one flows up and one energy line flows down. And this bladder meridian is flowing down energy from the eye, down in the back of the head, down the back of the body, two lines alongside on each side of the spine, and then around the back of the hips and the glutes, and then down the legs and zigzags around the calf and comes out on the pinky toe side, front of the foot. So we are going to target the bladder meridian today with 5 yin yoga poses to enhance the flow, the chi of that energy that we want to have nice and free and clear for our bladder. We're going to start with alternate nostril breathing, inhaling through the left nostril and exhaling through the right. The left is more like the calming, cooling, downward flow side. And so we're going to start with that and stick with that today. So take your second and third finger in towards the midline and holding it in towards the base of the thumb. And then we're going to put the ring and pinky alongside the ridge of the left nostril and the thumb alongside the right nostril. And we'll take 3 nice deep breaths together from here to start. Breathing through both nostrils and exhaling. And inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling through both. Closing off the right nostril and inhaling through the left. Closing off the left, exhaling through the right. Closing the right, inhaling through the left. Closing the left, exhaling through the right. And inhaling through the right, left. Closing left, exhaling through the right. Closing the right, inhaling through the left, and continuing this flow on your own for another 3 rounds. Inhaling left and exhaling right. And then we'll inhale through the left and take the fingers off the nose and exhale through both nostrils. And continue for 2 more times, inhaling and exhaling. One more time. And from here, let's come on to our backs and start with Swan pose, supine Swan pose, which targets the back side of the hip and the lower back area, right ankle over the left knee, and hands around the hamstrings, or hands might be right here, or they might come around the front of your knee, right below the knee. The key would be to stay within a comfort zone, an edge where you feel like there is some energy, chi moving around in your body. And from there we hold it so that we can comfortably stay there for about another 15-20 breaths. And we stay as passive as we can. With the intention of moving energy for the bladder meridian. Staying as still as we can to let the pose do the work. There's no pulling, there's no tugging, there's no helping out with the muscles. Another 5 breaths here. And gently switching to the second side. Left ankle over right knee, taking your hands around your hamstrings or around below the knee if that is your edge and comfort zone. Checking in with your body parts and see where it will take you. Making sure that you are at an edge where you can stay comfortably for the next 3 minutes or so. Moving layers on the left side of the hip, glutes, the deeper layers, the fascia, the connective tissue. And we do our best to just leave the muscles out of the pose and just letting the bones turn, letting the fascia twist and turn, and creating more health and vitality to the deeper layers by just putting a little gentle stretch onto the layers of the body. Letting all the layers be heavy. Taking the breath to any of the tighter areas. And staying for another 5 breaths or so. And slowly making your way out of your supine swan pose or figure 4. And we're going to take our way all the way up into a dangling pose, a forward fold, targeting the entire back side of the body. So we keep our head nice and low, and we'll come to tabletop for a moment. And then just taking our feet hip widths apart or outer hip widths apart, as wide as we need to feel stable, bending into the knees. And we can have the hands on blocks or hands on the floor. We could also take the hands onto the elbows and simply just going into a fold where we feel like we have a good, comfortable edge to hang out on into. And with edge, I mean like a place where it feels like there's some energy moving, but certainly not too much. It's not like a stretch. It's not like a big stretch for the muscles. It's more like putting a little extra stress onto the deeper layers. Certainly the muscles are going to be involved because we're standing up. We just want to have a nice heavy upper body, relaxing the whole spine and letting that flow of the chi and the bladder meridian be ignited and cleaning and clearing its way. And by just holding this pose, we're hitting all kinds of valuable spots on that meridian. And it feels really good for the spine too. And at any time, if we need to take the hands to the floor, we'll take the hands down for support. We have about another 5 breaths here. And slowly release the hands, support yourself as you come back down onto all fours. Tabletop, stretch your right leg back. And switching to the second side, left leg back. And then from here, we're going to come into prone swan pose, pigeon pose. So let's take, either we'll just take the right leg underneath us for pigeon, for swan, or we'll take down dog and come in from there. So choose what works for you. I do like to come into it from downward facing dog. Taking the right knee out to the side, plopping anything underneath the right hip if needed. Or if this doesn't work, then we'll come back onto our back and do the same pose we did at the beginning of the practice. Flatten out your toes in the back, go into as a relaxed mode as you can. Support yourself with your forearms if needed, and maybe get a little neck stretch in, or maybe plop yourself all the way down. Support yourself with blocks, anything that works for you. Opening those deep layers in the hips, in the back of the hips, around the glutes. Connects the upper body, connects the lower body. Bringing health and vitality to the deeper layers, the connective tissue, fascia, tendons, ligaments. Making sure that you're staying within your comfortable zone where you can be without any straining, any muscles helping out. Another 5 breaths here. And slowly making your way to the second side, however you like to transition. I am going to take it down facing dog to get some flow through the right hip. And left leg underneath, unless you're already there. Coming into prone swan pose. Get yourself comfortable with blocks or blankets, pillows, or something. I'm staying on my forearms and getting a stretch for my neck and shoulders, as well as a whole lot of energy moving through the hips. Relaxing the layers, relaxing the muscles,
finding a good edge to where you are comfortably situated for the next 20 or so breaths. Finding your edge, keeping it still and holding the pose and letting the magic happen on the deeper layers of the body. Enjoying just being in your pose. Take another 5 breaths here. And gently make your way up and come either to all fours or hoist yourself back to down dog to move energy through your knees, hips, ankles. And then from here, we're going to come onto our backs, come into supported bridge pose with either a block or maybe you have a pillow of sorts. I'm going to use my block and I'm going to take it on the lowest variation. You can take it on any variation that works for you. It can be the flat, the medium, I call this the tall. So take what works for you. It really is about just moving the chi in our bladder meridian. So it's not about stretching as far as we can, but of course it should be in a comfortable way where we are feeling something. We should come like to an edge, about a 3, 4, and a level up to 10. So take it to where it's comfortable for you. I might just flip my block up one more, some place where you can stay for your 3 minutes or so, enjoying your bridge pose, getting a little elevation for the back body. The block is comfortably situated onto the sacrum. Letting the energy of the femurs plug in. Feeling connected, upper and lower body. Enjoying the free flowing energy from the hips down the legs and feeling the connection in the feet to the heart of earth. They should be nice and open and kind of buzzing with energy from the previous opening, hip opening poses. We'll take another 5 breaths here. And slowly bring yourself back away from that and let your sacrum come down on the floor. I would give a couple of windshield wipers side to side, just to kind of get a little massage in towards the sacrum. So the next pose is caterpillar pose, which is a seated forward fold where we get to stretch out the whole backside of the body from the bottom of the legs up the hamstrings and the seat and the whole backside. So you might choose to do that, and I wanted to give another option too in case I have somebody in this virtual classroom that might enjoy plow pose. Then maybe you will take a plow pose instead. It's kind of like an upward facing forward bend version, so which targets also, of course, the bladder meridian and lots of other things too. It's certainly a whole lot more pressure on the shoulders and the neck. So if you're comfortable, then take yourself back into a plow, and you might be more comfortable here in a seated forward fold with something supporting your head, or you might choose to not have anything supporting your head and just simply letting your neck relax and stretch the whole backside, the whole spine. So pick anything that works for you. So go find where your edge is in your forward fold, or go and find where your edge is in your plow pose. where we can just relax the knees down, support them on the head, get a nice stretch into the back body. Enjoying whichever variation of a forward fold that you chose, whether it was seated forward fold or if it was a supine forward fold. We have about another 10 breaths. Gently making your way out, rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae. And we have reached Shavasana, where we get to lay onto our back and let all of the poses float into one, and where we get to assimilate all the yin poses that we have done through the last half an hour or so. Let's come down onto the back. Enjoy a nice relaxing Shavasana. 20 breaths. Making sure that you are comfortable, and it's easy here to not let the muscles be involved. If we just focus on relaxing all the way from the outer layers of the skin, and relaxing into the muscles, and relaxing into the bones, and letting the breath just pulsating in and out through all those nice soft layers that we just created. Letting all the yin poses we did assimilate into where new open pathways needs to be. Maybe they shifted a little bit. Another 10 breaths here. Breathing through all the relaxed layers for new, fresh exchange of energies. Outer layers, inner layers. New information, new downloads, new vibrant health, to our bladder meridian, to our bladder. And gently moving your toes and your fingers. Bringing your knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug. Knees to chest. And coming over to one side. And making your way up to a comfortable seat. Crossing your ankles. And just finding a good spot to sit nice and tall onto the sit bones. Hands onto your knees. They can be facing down, they can be facing up for more energy exchange, facing down for more grounding. Just sitting together and savoring the energy of our yin practice together. Syncing up new flow of qi in our bladder meridian. Taking a nice big breath together. Bringing the hands to the heart. And if you do have some pure cranberry juice around your house or any fresh cranberries, toss them into your smoothie or drink your pure cranberry juice with some water. It'll make your bladder very happy. It'll clear out any mucus, any sugary processed food that might be laying around. So just a little tip, if you would like to follow up on it, it will purify the bladder and it'll help the kidneys as well. So maybe something to keep in mind if you want to go and do something really good for your bladder meridian after this practice. Take a nice big inhale and we close our practice with an Om. Thank you so much, yoga friends, for joining me in this practice today. And I have many more coming up planned, so hit subscribe and get notification of the next video. And I look forward to seeing you in any of those or in any of the previous ones as well. Thank you again and have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.